What is the most NSFW thing that happened at your work? My boss asked me to take a look at a couple drawers in his master bath. We built his house. After I fixed the problem, I started walking out of the bathroom just as his 14-year-old daughter was coming in completely naked, just holding a towel in her hand. She froze in shock. I immediately put my head down, apologized and turned back into the bathroom. When everything was clear, I immediately bolted back to the shop. My boss walked in and asked if everything was okay. I said yes. I later found out he had asked other coworkers if I had told them of a peculiar story. They all said number. This is the first time I bring it up since it happened 3 years ago. Every now and then I see the daughter when she comes with her dad. She says hi, I say hi, and that is it. Worked for a trucking delivery company one summer. A woman got fired for, well, I guess you had call it nymphomania. She would disappear for 20 minutes pretty often without a good explanation. She got caught having sex at least 4 times that I know of, once with a customer in the bathroom, 3 times with the drivers in their trucks. She was warned in writing to stop having sex while at work. She just could not do it. The last time, both she and the truck driver got fired on the spot. To all employees. From Human Resources. Subject: helping Emily. Message: dear employees. As you are aware, Acme Logistics has a long history of assisting employees work through and overcome the challenges in their lives. As some of you already know, Emily Carter in customer service is working through a challenge now. To help Emily, all employees are requested to refuse any offers of sexual favors during working hours or on company premises. Thank you. A while back I worked at a company of about 300 people. One of the guys I worked with was convinced another dude in the department next to us jerked off in the bathroom. So he watches the dude all night until it is like 2:0 AM night shift and he finally goes to the bathroom. He followed jack offer into the bathroom, stands up on the toilet with his phone and records him. He was jacking off. The guy showed out the next day and they were both fired. They were both pretty stupid. Boss bangs receptionist. Wife finds out. Wife says either she goes or I go. Boss pays receptionist $50k to leave so she would not sue for wrongful dismissal. 6 months go by. Boss hires away I hot a receptionist just last month. Now we wait. I managed a retail store, hired a new kid, and it was just me and him there one afternoon. He asked to go to the back while we were slow to make a call. He was back there about 10 minutes and Stacy came in early for her afternoon shift. Walked to the back room and came out horrified. I went back and caught him on the phone jerking off. Duckin' kid called the phone sex line and was having a wank at the break table. After I had to fire him, he called me relentlessly begging for his job back. A guy quit and sent a company-wide farewell email detailing all the places he had sex in our office buildings. In pretty graphic detail. The ad department removed it from the servers, but I assume someone saved it somewhere. Years ago, I was doing a VoIP install for medium-sized bank in rural area. This required extensive after-hours work to avoid disruption to the business. One night, one of the contractors was placing phones on desks and in offices to get them tapped and tested. When he walked into an office where the branch manager was getting railed over her desk by a guy who was not her husband, he hurriedly shut the door, and a few minutes later the guy walked out, followed shortly by the branch manager who pretended that nothing had happened. I worked at a gym that would do anything to sign up new members. As part of the outreach promotions, members of the sales team would regularly head out into the city to hand out free one-day passes, with the hope of converting them once they had their details on file. One day a homeless guy comes in with a pass. We could not say no, and he headed inside to use the showers. Fair enough. The changing rooms were checked hourly, as were the showers, and it was during these checks that a member of my team noticed blood trailing into the shower gutter. On checking, the homeless guy had taken his opportunity of a free shower to treat himself to a DIY pedicure as he sat carving the hard skin off his feet with a razor blade. Not to one-up you, but one homeless guy used to frequent my store and use our pay-by-time computers for most of the day. Most of the homeless people in the area had a shopping cart they kept their stuff in. But this guy had built up something about the size of a Prius using bicycle frames and tarp. He had parked it in the way of the carts and use our computers. He would not cause trouble. So we let him be. One day he needed to empty his toilet big orange Home Depot bucket and used our toilets to do it. Our toilet was having none of that. It backed up immediately and all over the floor. I refused to go to that corner of the store altogether. But I'm told there were maggots. That was the day I drew my no biohazards line with my managers. I sold tech and thankfully that carried enough clout that I could actually get away with refusing to clean blood or fesses. So at my last job, every year they would throw a mini party for all employees who had been there for 5+ years. This year, they got a cabin in a small mountain town and took everyone for an overpass adventure. Well, of course, part of the adventure was a bit of partying. It is no secret that the CEO is somewhat of a pothead. So no one was surprised when a batch of pot brownies made it to the cabin. But no one ate them. The next day, they all returned to the office and all the leftover food was spread out in the office kitchen so the rest of the company could enjoy some snacks. Well, someone did not realize that they were special brownies and set them out. One of the designers cut himself quite a large brownie and ate it. The CEO realized what happened and removed the batch from the kitchen. Then went on a search around the office in hopes of stopping whoever had taken the brownie. It was too late. The designer was totally ripped and spent the rest of the day eating snacks and coloring in a coloring book. I used to work in a Cinnabon at a mall. One evening a guy walked up to the front counter, whipped his dick out, and started pissing all over a glass display case, smiling like an idiot the entire time. Then tried to deny what he had done and order a drink. Like most small food places, the front counter was the front of the store, so this was happening out in the midst of all the mall's foot traffic. Though I should probably let everyone know we were not in the food court. The guy got arrested. In case you were curious. Edit, since a lot of people are asking. This was in Colorado Springs about 15 years ago. Edit 2, yes. Chapel Hills Mall, everyone. Deployed in Afghanistan. I was in the shower when all of a sudden we were being hit by incoming mortars. One of the mortars landed so close and loud that I did not think twice about grabbing a towel. I ran straight to the nearest bunker, and apparently I was not the only one that reacted the same way. So here I am with 10 other people completely nude. Everyone was hiding their goods, and not even so much as a giggle was heard. Slowly but surely, hands were growing weary. Fear of another mortar attack had subsided, and the laughing started. Eventually, nobody cared that they were being seen in the nude by the opposite sex. Boobs and cocks were all over the place, and it was the first time in 8 months since I have seen so much as a side boob. The mental images from that incident had held me over for the duration of the deployment. We got the all clear to exit the bunker and everyone went about their business. Made a lot of close friends that day. I work at one of those hipster co-working spaces which is also the host to an assortment of programmer meetups in town. One evening during a meetup, this guy just finished his presentation and we were transitioning to the next speaker. Shortly after she comes up, some hardcore interracial pornography starts playing on the TV that the Apple TV was connected to. The previous speaker had been using it for his slides or something. And once he sat down his phone was still connected to it. I guess not exactly sure how Apple TV works. Apparently his brother sent him a video in text and he clicked it and it just automatically started playing on the TV in front of about 24 people. He promptly stood up and unplugged the TV from the wall and left the room. He came back shortly after apologizing with some shit like "my brother is such a dick." It was hands down the most cringe-worthy moment of my life. My boss brings in her bull mastiff child every day. It is a show dog and not neutered. Its lipstick is constantly out. Nobody really interacts with it or says anything. But she brings it over to each of us every morning and talks about his big penis. How it is always out and at the ready, laughing like it is cute or impressive. I'm so sick of hearing about dog penises. Someone help. Edit extra apostrophe. Co-worker banging girl from produce in the dairy cooler thinking the shelving would hide the deed. Store manager was not pleased when he got the complaint. Edit wow. So many questions. This appears to be very common. The store I was at was in NW, Indiana, and this was around the year 2000. The girl who had been writing sex toys and other stuff off as expenses and use them with her customer was a good one. She unsurprisingly went to work for that customer after she got fired. I work in a photo lab and I have seen child porn and animal abuse. The good thing is that in order to send in your photos to be printed, you need to enter your first and last name and phone number. Every last one of these people got arrested after my department reported the photos. I worked in a digital photo lab and while I did not end up seeing things like this, I had seen a good majority of my regulars nude or in sexual situations. I always acted like nothing happened unless they insisted I print those pictures, which we were not allowed. One of my coworkers often would pull up her dress and flash another girl in the office for fun. One time she decided to do it in the copy room, just as the owner of the company walked in. This girl sucked and ducked multiple people in the bathroom. She finally got caught and fired. She would put up a maintenance sign up and went to town. Our lady grabbing my junk under the table at company picnic. Move her hand and look over, and she is doing the same thing to my boss on the other side of her. She may have been slightly intoxicated.